was a stinker to begin with. He was a stallion, and you know, the men sometimes are a little funny about gelding. You know, so we kept him as a stallion for about 3 or 4 years, and it's in that thing I wrote there. I used to ride him during the week, you know, and get the bucks out of him, and then my husband would come along on the weekend and take him out for a wonderful ride. Well, I got a little tired of that, you know. And so I stopped riding him during the week. So when he went for his ride on Saturday, he was riding along the back road, and a draft horse was in pasture and came barreling up to the fence. The horse pal just saw that horse coming, and he reared up and dumped him off, scraped up his back good, and he hiked back to the farm and says, "I think it's time we have him gelded."
It mentioned that you were very, very involved in 4-H as a 4-H leader, and that it said that there were a number of some of your 4-H students or participants had gone on to, it sounds like, professional careers with the horses.
Well, you know Jenny Brown?
Yeah.
She's one of she was in my 4-H club.
All right. Okay.
I always remember a funny thing about her. It had nothing to do with horses. But I was teaching the kids how to bait a horse, and we were using a little black pony that I had for my youngest daughter. And I'm a great one for letting them make their own mistakes and correcting them. She used a whole bottle of dishwashing shampoo to wash that little 38-inch Shetland. So she had quite a job of getting that soap out of her. But it's typical Jenny. She wouldn't give up until she got every last drop out of her.
Yeah, she's a great person. In fact, it was interesting because last week I had the opportunity to visit with Claire Murphy and with Janie. And Jenny's name, again, came up quite a bit because...
I know Jane, too.
Yeah.
I remember the year she rode one of her Morgan horses in an equitation class, and of all people, was a judge that year was Helen Crabtree. Yeah. And the Murphy girl, she won the championship.
One of the things in going through all of the history that I noticed is there was a small article that you had sent in about how you participated in, I think, the first New York State Morgan Horse Show in 1960.
It's right there. It's written up in there.
Tell me a little bit about that so we can save it in your words.
Ralph Bluff was president of the club at that time, and he lived in Altamont, which is near Albany, and so did we. We were just a few miles apart. And he came down to... Nancy had shown that gelding at the Altamont County Fair, and he came down to see me, and he said that they were starting a show in Syracuse, a Morgan show, and why didn't we bring the gelding? So we went for one day in a homemade trailer. Prosperous we never were. And Nancy went in a couple of classes, and she got a ribbon in one of the classes, and that started the whole thing.
So that was kind of the beginning with the show.
That was the beginning. I wasn't even a member of the club at that time.
All right.
And shortly after that, my husband was transferred up here. He worked at Electronics Park, and then we bought this farm, and we joined, and we've been members ever since. There's been a member of my family, or my offspring, have been to every New York show that they've had. And there's, as far as I know, I may be wrong on this, but I don't think so. As far as I know, the only other one with that kind of a record is Herrick's.
I saw that in the article as well. That's amazing. That is just amazing.
And it goes right down through the generations.
That's
Even
fantastic.
the little Herrick, Nancy,
yeah.
the little girls.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, and now...
I saw her last year at the show, and I think it was her first lead line, and she was paying any more attention to her horse. She was just smiling at the audience.
That's something. The more memorable Morgans.
Oh, I'd have to say Windcrest Flair.
Tell me about Windcrest Flair. Who was he owned by?
Dick Stanton. He was a good horseman. No, he had an injury when he was a young horse, so they couldn't show him in a full bridle. So he never went to show ring very much because he couldn't go in a full bridle. He injured his jaw, and he sired an awful lot of foals. I had quite a few from him, and that was one that I thought. And of course, Cornwallis was a New York Stater. Then Judy Gaylord had that wonderful stallion that actually is the father of my bay mare. He was killed in one of her barn burn. That was awful. Rockridge Sabbath.
That's right.
Sabby.
Yeah.
He had a disposition that like an angel.
So when you at Rockridge Sabbath, then to you was wonderful disposition, and other words that you would use to describe that horse.
And he would do anything for if you just give him a clue.
That's great. And Windcrest Flair, the things that appealed to you about that horse were that he was
very versatile. He could do anything, and he also had a wonderful disposition.
And he was also a beautiful horse.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Isn't that so? This is in recognition of 1,000 hours. What does it take to be? Now, is that? Share with me what you did.
Well, I did mine all in driving that 1,000 hours because I hurt my leg back a good many years ago, and I never felt quite comfortable riding after that because I didn't have any strength in this one leg, so I drove. And I stopped keeping track of my hours after I got the 1,000 hours because I thought, oh hell, I'm too old for this stuff. But I wish I hadn't, because I think I could have got the 2,000 hours.
Isn't that amazing? Now, do you still drive at this time? Unbelievable.
I got a beautiful little mare out there.
How often do you drive?
Well, when I'm feeling well, I drive 3 or 4 times a week.
All right.
See, this